Great. So I want to start off with this first game. It's my victory against Tabata Bay. It was in the European Club Cup like 2 months ago, I believe. Okay, I was actually very proud of this game. I think I managed to display some good dynamic knowledge, so I would like to share it with you. So we get into this Italian position basically, and everything is looking very normal. Basically, we get this position, and here I get very shocked when he plays b5 already. So okay, when my opponent is well prepared, I like to play some normal moves basically. I think it's very typical to put the knight on g3 in these positions. Okay, I don't want to play d5 here basically, because if c4, well, the diagonal of the bishop gets completely opened, and okay, somehow it's good for black already. So I just play knight g3, bishop b7, he blitzes out everything, keep in mind. Bishop c2, c takes d4, c takes d4, takes, and d5. And I think this is already the first really interesting moment of the game already. Like, I think I handled it very well. But okay, I would like to ask you maybe to, you know, take a minute here and think about what white could do, because the center is definitely under attack, so white needs to be very careful. I think, okay, I think it's very clear that white has to begin with e5 if he wants to get something. You cannot, like black, you know, get all of this activity. Bishops are completely opened and the structure is completely symmetrical. So I think e5 is definitely the way to go. And after knight e4, it's a very tricky situation. And during the game, to be honest, I was not really sure if it was very clear for me, but I remember I thought maybe 40 minutes here during the game, and somehow yeah, somehow I found the correct moves actually. Yes. Well, knight gf5 was my first intention, to be honest, during the game. Yeah, it was my first intention, but I ultimately rejected it because 1 second. I thought he had some tricks with knight takes e5, and after f3, what was in this position? Ah no, knight gf5, I was worried about bishop c8 actually, in fact, first I remember. Bishop c8 is very annoying because, of course, I like this knight a lot on e5, f5, yeah? Like you want to sacrifice something, you're eyeing g7 clearly. Yeah, so knight gf5, I was worried about bishop c8, and somehow, okay, I cannot play this because f2 is hanging. Yeah, I would love to play knight c6 in this position. And f5 is somehow under fire. Black is also threatening to take e5 now. I think if I take a, take b5, he can even just take here. No, sorry, now this is just hanging and f2. So this is even worse, but also e5 is just immediately under attack. Also,
can you take on your after bishop c8?
After bishop c8, like here, so like this, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, take back.
The f5 is hanging. Okay.
Yeah, f5 is hanging, like, okay, you cannot win a pawn basically because of this. But anyway, I would not be too happy because even if some move like this, let's say, rook goes back, like I didn't like some options with queen d5 related. Black gets a lot of activity for the pawn, I think. Well, what I did in the game was kind of different. Well, I went at it in a way that somehow I get a lot of counterplay and activity instead of leaving black with a lot of activity. Okay, I took a takes b5 here first, and here. Maybe it's more clear. It can be more clear here why I take b5 first. It was definitely not an easy decision, yeah. So yes. This is actually a very good move. According to the computer, it was also the best move. So I was very happy I found that during the game. But I think it's only good if you follow it up with the correct continuation here. Here white has also one move that's really definitely better than the others. This one? This is not what I played in the game, actually. I thought it was a bit slow. I thought I should have done something faster. I just sacrificed an exchange, basically, so my idea was not to, like, okay, play a slow developing move, basically. And he can play rook a6, I think. Rook a6 is a good move. It guards this rank completely, neutralizes all e6 threats for the future. So somehow I wanted to just do something faster, basically. His pieces are a bit misplaced also. I mean, the rook looks pretty stupid. The bishop also, like, completely blocked by this pawn. Knight h5? Knight b5, yeah? Well, the move was knight h5, actually, like I played in the game. Knight takes b5 was also a bit too slow. This is the point. Or not too slow, but let me say it like, this is not the point why I make an exchange sacrifice. Like when I sacrifice this exchange, it's just to, well, kill all counterplay by black on the a7, g1 diagonal. And, okay, knight takes b5 is not really in the spirit of the position, I think. Because you just take a pawn, you don't try to, well, attack on the king. Because now it's just me who's, like, I have those nice bishops, let's say here. I have the central knight on d4, perfect, like, and, yeah, okay, like knight takes b5 would just be like, you can play rook a1, and the problem is my pieces aren't really coordinating well. Like, my knight wants to be on d4 for now. This is why knight h5 is actually the best move in the position. Now, maybe someone, I don't know. By the way, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them, yeah, by all means, don't hesitate. But knight f5 in this position would be...
What's e6 now? Someone also proposed this.
Now e6?
Yeah.
I didn't hear it, sorry, but... e6 in this position, okay, if f takes, knight takes, something like this. I don't know if it's possible. This takes. I thought also very long about e6 during the game, but actually I somehow wanted to not let this rook into play on f8. I don't know, like e6 somehow didn't feel right to me as well. I wanted to improve my pieces also. I didn't want to allow this exchange also at any moment. Like somehow I just wanted to keep as many pieces on the board as I could. Okay, this is why I went for this move. Okay, knight h5. Knight f5. Okay, looks also like a good move, but the point is that knight h5 is better because the other knight can go to f5. And it can put an immense amount of pressure on the g7 pawn and on the black king. Also, even ideas like knight takes g7 are in the air with some knight f5 in the future. And the problem with knight f5 would be also bishop c8, which I was calculating for a very long time in the game, to be honest, I remember. I was thinking I wanted to make this move knight c6 work. Looks like white wins material, but queen b6. And what here? I really don't know, yeah. Because if you take this, f2 is hanging. So therefore I went knight h5.
First, give the exchange and then knight h5 and not the opposite because of you worried about immediate bishop takes d4?
Bishop takes d4 I think just wins immediately or not. You just lose material. Because there's in between check on f2. Or even maybe knight takes f2, I don't know. I was just terrified to leave this bishop, you know, eyeing my f2 pawn the whole time, and all these tactical possibilities were too much for me. I was even considering rook a3 or something defending, but couldn't make it work due to knight takes e5. So therefore I thought it was really I thought it was really vital to make this exchange sacrifice and kill all counterplay, followed by knight h5. Okay, now this is another interesting moment from black point of view, actually. After the game, he told me that here, somehow, his theory, his preparation ended, only here. Yeah, no, really, yeah, and okay, he's a very strong player, of course, so it doesn't surprise me too much. But I had like maybe 30 minutes already, I was very low on time, and he had 1 hour 34. So, a tough situation anyway. Okay, I played all the best moves somehow, and he didn't remember here. And okay, this is also an interesting moment in the game, how to play with black in these situations, where white is throwing everything at your king. how to try and fight back. F5? Well, also I can take, by the way, because this one there's bishop takes g6, so you blunder the knight. Yeah, rook a1 looks sensible somehow. During the game I thought, okay, maybe rook a1, but then I saw with white I can play knight f5 here. It's trying to look for counterplay. I think the idea is correct, just look for counterplay, but it doesn't actually work out. If I go something like queen b6 to do something, I can somehow take, and this is completely losing basically. Or even other knight maybe better. Yeah, somehow losing. So you want to do something about this knight f5 threat. I think knight f5 is a very obvious threat. Okay, bishop c8, I can say it's the move that he played in the game. After thinking for, okay, a crazy amount of time as well. However, bishop c8 is not correct move. This is what he played in the game, yeah, bishop c8. But, okay, basically the correct way to find counterplay. Okay, I don't think anyone would thought about this move too much, right? Just think, okay, blunder piece, nice. Anyway, knight takes e5 is like the best way to find counterplay. Because you temporarily sacrifice a piece. Okay, it's kind of like in this position with white, yeah? I felt myself getting under fire, yeah? He has a lot of potential threats, like, you know, along the diagonal, so I sacrifice material just to find some counterplay with knight h5, let's say. So in this position, he can afford to do the same. Best way to find counterplay is just knight takes e5. After f3, now you can play some move like rook a1, for instance. Takes, takes. Now there are some very crazy lines with knight f5 somehow. I don't remember where it was, g6. Okay, some very crazy lines either way, but somehow this is the best way to fight for something with black at least. Because in the game, here he played bishop c8. Okay, it's, well, it's just running into this. Maybe queen b6 is the idea somehow. This was in the game, by the way. This happened in the game. Yeah, queen b6 he played. Okay, here I made, I don't know, I made interesting decision, but not objectively the best one. So white has two options here. Or to go bishop e3, queen takes c6 and take the exchange on a7. Or to play bishop takes e4, and to play this with an exchange down and to find a lot of counterplay. It was during the game really not an easy decision for me, actually. To be honest, maybe I would still make the same decision, actually, if I had the game now. But yeah. Somehow you need to calculate a bit in these positions. It's really not easy. Okay, I can explain it better like this, in fact. So with this calculation, knight takes e5. What's the automatic move that everybody thinks about after knight takes e5? Bishop d4, yeah? Well, to be honest, for me in the game, that was not the case. This is why I rejected this line. For me, I always wanted to counter knight takes e5 with f3, trying to win a piece. But during the game, okay, when I was calculating all these moves, like I was calculating this line from here, in fact, yeah. So here takes, knight h5, bishop c8, here, bishop e3. Somehow in my calculation, I saw that f3 can be countered with knight takes f3. And in fact, black is completely winning, because queen takes would run into queen takes c2. G takes f3 would run into some queen g6 tricks. And because of this, I rejected this completely. But in fact, if I would have seen bishop d4, I would have definitely gotten into this. Because, yeah, somehow black cannot defend against all counterplay. Some move like f6 would be extremely weakening. After f6, okay, I thought knight f4 was somehow very dangerous for black already. I'm threatening to take on d5. I'm threatening to take on e5 and d5. If he goes somewhere away with the knight, I can somehow still take, and it's some problems everywhere, yeah? So, yeah, bishop d4 would be a killer move, in fact, if I would have seen it. I chose the path of an exchange sacrifice. Okay, if you were to take here, I just win a full pawn, I think, yeah? Just win a full pawn, and all these random threats of bishop takes h6 at various moments are hanging in the air. So I think it would be very tough to defend this with black. Okay, nonetheless. Okay, he played queen takes c6, principled move. Bishop takes d5, of course. I don't want to trade queens when I'm down material. I want to keep my attacking prospects. He played queen a6 here. Good move, I think. Okay, he just needs to defend this rank a bit, because some threats are always in the air, like bishop takes h6, and I don't know, maybe even some, I don't know if I put queen d3, I'm putting this threat of knight f6, yeah? So also this can be very dangerous, in fact. Yeah, so I played queen d3 threatening knight f6, and he played bishop e6 here. Now, of course, I don't want to change those bishops, right? So bishop e4 is a good move. Rook d7, attacking the queen. Okay, here I made a strange decision, in fact. I'm not really quite sure why. No, okay, so during the game I played, I was thinking to go queen g3, which is also, I think, the most human move and even suggested by the engine. But I found that later, okay, when I was thinking, I thought queen e3 was somehow very interesting because I'm introducing some threats of knight takes g7. Yeah, that's why I played queen e3 at the end. And even some knight f6 threats, like with e takes f6 and to give some checkmate on h6. He played queen e7, and now I played queen g3. Somehow my idea was to, you know, get the queen of the 6th rank to introduce all these threats. But according to the computer, and now I understand why, it's not so impressive because of this move, queen d4. And black would actually not mind at all to go into this. Because somehow white has no mate or anything, no bishop pair, no dynamic chances to give checkmate. And I cannot even take this pawn because of f2. So queen d4. Okay, I played move bishop takes h6 here. In fact, okay, I don't remember how good it was here, but I thought I was completely winning during the game. Because of, okay, if he takes, now I have a moment to take here. See, white is completely winning. Takes, takes, king h8 must. Takes here. If rook h7, there's mate. If king g8, white wins. 4 pawns, it's a bit too much. So he played queen b4, very, okay, kind of sneaky move actually. He wants to put some tricks, yeah. Let's say if okay, I have to stay with my rook on the e file to defend the bishop. If I were to go somewhere here, he wants to put some strange tricks on the back rank. I don't know exactly, and I think it's still somehow winning, but I didn't feel fully comfortable to leave my opponent counterplay as I just sacrificed a piece. Okay, I went for an interesting idea here, f4. Interesting concept, actually. And he went g takes h6, he took my bishop now. Now why can't I take here anymore? And I can resign, basically. This was the point of queen b4, yeah? It looks very innocent, but somehow very sneaky move, yeah? You can just take this. Okay, here, maybe think a little bit, because this move is really not obvious, maybe. But yeah, this one was also a very important move, in fact. And I think the only move that wins by a clear margin. Other moves are really unclear and maybe even not great. Gave knight f6. What to do after something like king h8, let's say. Well, this is exactly what I didn't want to do in the game, to be honest. I checked this, but then I realized my knight on h5 is so beautiful. Even if it means to be a rook down, it's still an attacking piece, yeah? Like, I'm clearly attacking here, let's say. So even if I win material for now, let's say, first of all, I'm still a piece down, and second of all, my attack is evaporating a little bit. So knight f6 was not my intention in the game, actually. I wanted to keep all my... Sorry?
King h2.
King h2? Yes.
But the rook is not hanging in check.
Yeah. This is actually a very great, absolutely great move, I think. I was very happy when I found it during the game, because white is just completely rook down. I think everybody was thinking maybe about some more forcing moves in this position. Okay, when you're rook down, it makes a lot of sense to check the forcing options. But in fact, just making this prophylactic move with a rook down is really nice, actually, because you sidestep all the trouble. To be honest, I was checking f5, f5 as my first, my first option. Then I realized queen d4, check, e5 is under fire. Well, if I were to go somewhere else, you can just take, I think. And okay, so even this is pretty good. Yeah, I can go into some strange endgames, like I don't know what it was, something like this, maybe bishop c6. Some very complicated, strange things, but I found that king h2 just works much better, as he cannot even defend the threats. He cannot defend f5, knight f6, and bishop takes g6 simultaneously. Everything's just completely hanging. Anyway, he plays king h8, trying to make the best out of it and survive the situation. f5, of course. Well, it's a bit useless to take this because rook g8 now, bishop takes g6 is less forcing, and f5 breaks the entire position open. He played with bishop takes f5, rook e7. So I think this was like move... I think it was move 37, 38 here maybe. I had maybe 30 seconds on the clock. So, okay, white to play, and kind of a forcing win here. Okay, e6, yeah? It was not the move I played in the game. I checked it for a very long time. Somehow, It might win too, actually, to be honest. I'm not really 100% sure, but I just recall myself having 30 seconds, extremely nervous. Keep in mind, it was European Club Cup, yeah? And we were down like 2-1 in the match at this point. No, wait, what was it? We're down 3-2 in the match, I think. So this is a very important game. I need to win this game. And E6 with he had more time than me. He had like 10 minutes, let's say. I was very, very nervous to go into all these complications. I'm not even sure it's should be winning probably. Yeah, I don't want to check with the computer, of course, but I don't want to disappoint myself. So okay, E6 is, I don't know, very complicated. But during the game I played at the game I played Queen E3 because I saw it wins like instantly by force. Okay, H6 is defend. H6 is just attacked. Only way to defend it and not get mated instantly is King H7. I play check. Need to go there to keep the pawn defended. Okay, I remember this was the 39th move and this was the 40th move. So now I can think for a very long time. I have like 30 minutes on the clock basically, and okay, maybe it will be more clear from this position why to play and win.
Bishop takes g6 and then knight e5. g3.
Yeah, G3 is a good move. To my complete shock, here I realized that I cannot save my piece somehow, which was absolutely insane for me because, I mean, look, like, I couldn't believe it, yeah? So I just took here, and I didn't really have any trouble converting this after all. Okay, I played G4, I don't know, just putting my pieces all perfectly. I was playing this very slowly because black cannot move. And here he played Queen D6 and I went to do this endgame. Okay, he played on for a very long time actually. It was team situation, so, but Rook B7, I just keep everything defended, no checks. And Zugzwang, he has to move the rook, I take B2 and he resigns. Okay, cutting the king off and resign. So yeah, this was maybe one of my best victories ever. I'm happy with this game. I think it's also kind of instructive. I don't know how to think in these type of positions, how to somehow get counterplay, let's say when your opponent is putting you under fire with some insane threats, like, okay, in this moment, I think it's really hard to understand this in a practical game, yeah, in a classical game to play rook takes a7, but sometimes you have to give material in order to get some very interesting counterplay options. And the same counts for black in this position. Knight takes e5 was the way to go. I think it's not obvious at all, but if black wants to play principled and find counterplay, this is definitely the way to go. Instead of going for bishop c8 and playing passively, as white gets so many dynamic chances like in the game. And yeah, king h2. So yeah, this was my game against Tabata Bey. Now I want to show another type of game. It was not like my last one. This game was in Capella Grande in France, February. Yeah, February. Against international master Beertsen. Okay, already very interesting moment of the game. Is there anyone like very familiar with this move or something? G5, yeah, it looks absolutely crazy, but well, lucky for me, I was slightly familiar during the game. Yeah, idea is basically take, runs into some e5, d3, bishop takes b4, something like this, you know, which is, I didn't want to get into. But yeah, basically it all comes down to the fact that this guy wanted to make his last GM norm. We're both leading the tournament, so he wanted to get some interesting position against me. So I play queen b3. Idea after g4. What's the idea after g4?
Second d4.
Yeah.
take on d4, takes, and will resign. So he played bishop g7 here, main move. Took this pawn. Here he played h6. I can vaguely recall that e5 is the main move and the best move. And after queen g3, there will be some intense fight probably. Really unclear positions can arise. Something like knight e7. I can remember some absolutely crazy lines like this. Somehow my queen escapes, but black has a lot of counterplay in the center. Okay, absolutely crazy. Not really relevant though. I'm just, yeah. So he played h6. Knight f3, and now he played e5. And now in fact after d3, white just has a very big advantage because white's pieces are coordinated like totally in a totally normal position, and black is just a full pawn down. And an important pawn also, because the g pawn, well, it defends your king and it also protects some weaknesses, yeah, like the f5 square potentially later. And whereas if e5, queen g3, white's pieces look a bit strange, and black can develop quickly, has a tempo more than wasting it on h6. So d3. Knight d7, knight d2 I play. I'm trying to leave my options open, not making it clear whether I'll play e3 or g3. Bishop e6, bishop b2. Also looks a bit strange. You would expect me to I don't know, make a decision where to open up. I don't play too long castle, by the way, definitely not. That would be a very bad idea because black has a lot of b5 and a5 ideas and whatnot. I played it more to check if I could play e3 somewhere in the future. Trying to break the pawn center, like in some type of Benoni positions. He played knight d7, and I decided g3 was the best. I was worried e3 that, first of all, I'm a pawn up, yeah? So there's that, and somehow I didn't want to leave him with some counterplay. Knight f5. Knight f5 was the thing I was a bit annoyed about in the game. Somehow I thought I could have played d4, but I'm like a tempi down basically. This I remember during the game. I was worried about this d4. I thought no, impossible. I was very upset actually because e3 was really the move I wanted to play. This is why I put the bishop on b2. Now d4. Takes. I was furious because I thought knight takes d4, why doesn't this work? I was disappointed, so I thought, okay, I will just drop it. Completely forgetting the fact that here there's g3. I thought, but he can take. And I forgot that there's bishop f2 during the game. So very weak calculation, but well, somehow these complicated positions, yeah, it didn't do it for me. So I went for g3 in this position, playing it kind of, okay, considerably safe. And here he plays b5. I think, okay, correct decision. The computer doesn't like it for black, of course, this position, but b5 is the best move, and black's just trying to make the best out of it. He's trying to make a GM norm, so he wants some interesting game. I think it's completely okay, b5. I play queen c2, getting out of the pin. Why? Because in some lines, let's say, where the knight comes here, okay, I can make some random moves quickly. Basically this, like some structure like this, I did not particularly enjoy because I can give him a lot of counterplay in the center. And okay, my games I usually value the center a lot, yeah. My coach always used to tell me also the center is very important. Yeah, so somehow I'm trying to avoid the pin so I can always take with the knight in these scenarios. So he plays c5. Also very crazy, trying to really do something in the center. I played move b takes c5 in the game. Okay, if I take cb, then cb, some rook c8, and most importantly, knight can go to c3, which I really didn't want to allow. I took this one, takes. Now I took another pawn. Well, maybe people might think I'm getting greedy. I'm not encouraging anybody to take a lot of pawns without developing a bishop and castling. But I had a clear idea behind it, just to be clear. I had a clear idea behind it. Problem was bishop g2, which was my first intention, had some problems. I think he could even take. And the problem was here, there's some queen a5. I have to move the king, and okay. I know, yeah, rook b8 during the game was very annoying. I cannot move my bishop anywhere. If I go for rook b1, there's some annoying knight a4 stuff, or even castle, I think, is very annoying somehow. Rook b8 was really bothering me during the game, I remember. I have to put my bishop on c1, which looks a bit ugly, to be honest. My king on f1, my bishop undeveloped. So, I took, and I took again. Which is a good move. And he plays this now. Okay, here, maybe, try, I would like to ask you to find maybe a sequence of moves. What's White's idea? There may be some people here at this tournament, so I hope nobody saw this game, but basically it all comes down to bishop g2 with knight b3. Yeah, this is exactly what I played in the game, and by far also the best move. Now queen d1 avoids material loss. One might think I'm 2 pawns up, great and whatever, but now queen a5 and really not clear. Bishop g2, some knight a4. I was extremely scared to go into this, I have to say. Knight c3 maybe. If I take, I'm completely losing out of nowhere. Actually, the computer says if I go here, then somehow black is not a little better, but almost winning much better after queen a5. And bishop g2, what I played in the game, white is somehow better. And okay, I understood in the game that this is the only way to go, really.
So what happens if e4?
Here? e4, d takes e4. I had calculated this during the game, but yeah, I'm lucky that it doesn't work. It looks like black has some counterplay, but in fact, there's really nothing happening because this would blunder a bishop. But e4 might look tempting, but after d takes e4, in fact, yeah, I'm actually completely fine. He played knight b3 in the game. I take the rook, of course, take. And how to take on b3 now? Sorry? Yeah, of course with a pawn, yeah. I mean, knight takes b3 would look a bit strange. This would activate the rook and, okay, of course, give the knight potential squares on c4, for instance. Okay, so this is clear. This is called like material imbalance in chess, basically, this topic. Okay. Why is the queen worse than the rook and the knight here? Because I can explain, like, let's say the pieces coordinate much, much better for white. And in the next few moves, you'll clearly see that white's pieces will be like working perfectly together, like in harmony, like dancing together, while black pieces will be left absolutely terrible, actually, and not controlling any squares like white's pieces. And also the 2 pawns are great. So bishop a3, I don't even castle. I'm not in a hurry necessarily. I can do it any move. I want to put my bishop on good square, on c5. And now I castle. Here, rook c1. all my pieces are coordinated and working well. Somehow I'm very active also, even though I have only one pawn now. But queen b8, black is completely passive. Trying to defend somehow. Now I play b4, anchoring the bishop on c5, defending the pawn on b3. He plays bishop d5. Already start of the wrong plan, I think. I think he should definitely keep f5 under control. And what he should also do is try to find some potential counterplay solution. Wow, it's clearly better still because e4 is never really easily happening without losing material. But yeah, that's that. He played bishop d5. Correct idea here, knight h4 of course. Trying to play on the white squares. And now actually situation becomes very nice for me because one knight will come to e4, other knight will come to f5. This one is defended very nicely here. This one can easily be defended by g4. And this knight is completely dominated by this bishop. Wherever the knight goes, I will take it instantly. He gave a check, I played f3. I'm not really worried, I don't think it's weakening. I have a strong barricade around my king. He played this, immediately take. I'm not letting the knight come to d5 or any further. Knight e4. I'm just saying take my pawn, I really don't care. I play rook c4, keeping everything defended, not leaving any counterplay. Rook c1, just take the pawn. He doesn't even want to take, yeah, because if he takes, rook c6, there, bam, knight f5, and you're lucky if you survive 10 moves in this position, yeah, I think. So, queen d8 he played, extremely passive, knight f5. I'm completely dominating the position here, basically, because I have all these threats in the air that he has to be careful of. Rook b6, not if he takes the pawn. I have something like rook c8, and where does the queen go? Absolutely nowhere, because here there's knight f6. If you go to b6, mate in 3. Rook b6, he tries to defend the 6 ranks maximally. g4. Okay. This would be a very, very stupid way to lose this nice game, but I played king f2, of course, sidestepping the pin. a5. He told me after the game that he was trying to make a stalemate in case I was taking, but I also think that's very, very unrealistic. Rook c7 anyways. And he just resigned here, in fact. Completely winning position. He cannot move the queen anywhere. This resign. Every move is, in fact, totally losing. I can just even, like, after such a move, I can just play there, and next move rook c8. But I'm sure that even this is just easy. So, yeah, this is just a material imbalance and how to get from this type of endgame, which I think is not clear at all. Even during the game, I thought I have a nice position, but I didn't know it was that good, to be honest. So with material imbalance, piece coordination is extremely important. Black's pieces look very, very strange. Well, okay, all my pieces are just very well placed and they work well together. Just rook c1. All my pieces are actually defending each other. And they're just, well, b4, slowly attacking the weak squares and working very well together in a completely positional way. I'm completely positionally winning against the queen up, in fact. Just knight h4 takes and, well, slowly building some mating net with my pieces placed on perfect squares, in fact. So yeah, this was my game against international master Thomas Beertsen. Okay, we still have some time. I wanted to check some endgames, in fact, because 3 out of my 4 games in this tournament were rook endings, so I would feel a bit bad if I didn't spread some some rook endgames, in fact. So I want to check, first of all, there's this game that I played in 2019 against a Dutch guy in a closed IM Norm tournament. So, okay, the game is not so relevant. Some Ragozin. In fact, some very slow positions where white is just trying to play for an advantage. I'm basically better the whole game, and now we get some situation like this. This type of endgame. I play like 100 moves like usually, just first. And this may be this one. I play rook a7 first. This may be the key position after king g8. So I was 2370 at this time, trying to make my first international master norm. A win would have been almost for sure a draw. Well, not clear. Okay, later afterwards I got it in this tournament actually by some luck. But this endgame, well, okay. I played king h4 here. The only way to put pressure, I think. Yeah, otherwise your king is just stuck defending the pawn on h2. So king h4. I'll switch it actually like this. How to play as black. This is a very, very delicate subject, by the way. Yeah? These rook endings, they're very easy to lose. I can show my game later. The second game, which was completely draw, almost identical endgame, and I also somehow managed to win this one because it's very easy to blunder, in fact. So it all comes down to the point, basically, if you take h2 or you play king g7 and defend against potential king invasion, yeah?
Rook takes h2 check.
Rook takes h2 check, yeah? Is the only move to make a draw in this position. It's like I was saying earlier, yeah? To find counterplay, one must not be like a sitting duck and place a move like king g7 as my opponent did in the position here. Rook take h2 is the correct move. After king g5, black actually has various moves to draw, like rook c2, like some strange stuff like defending the back rank, or even, I don't remember, but I think the easiest way is to
What about e6
h4.
after rook c2?
E6? This is exactly why I don't go into this stuff. Somehow this is also a draw. I'm completely sure, but I think it's very senseless to go into this. King f6 would be rook f5 and f takes e6, which is draw. Here we can somehow take and play some king f8. Some very strange moves. I don't. But somehow it's supposed to be fine anyway for black. I think here you can go there. Here rook c3 is a draw. I think it's very useless and not necessary to go into this. In fact, black has a clear way to make draw with h4 here. Point is being take, you go king g7. This would be a very nice way to lose the game also. So, well, black needs to go back, and this was actually the position that I had in my second game of the tournament. Yeah, so h4. If white decides to somehow play here, well, after this, g2 is not the move because of this. Takes. No, not like that, but like this. And rook h6 take, and there's rook h8 check. Same counts if the king goes here, rook takes g6, white is winning. So it would be very important to play rook h7, and white's only way to play is take, take, e6, and promote at the same time with a draw. So h4 here. Yeah, something like take, king g7, like I already said, and that's just a draw. Okay, this doesn't work, of course, because take. Anyways, my opponent somehow played king g7 during the game. And now is a key moment where I did something that's absolutely insane to me now, but somehow in 2019 I used to be different. And I really don't understand my decision. I don't know how obvious this was for everyone, but I completely forgot that somehow now I can leave the h2 pawn unguarded. Some complete crazy things. And white's in fact completely winning in this position. Well, I played h3 in the game and I didn't really get any good chances further. I moved around a lot, but I didn't get there. So, king g5. This is now the way to win. If black plays rook e1, I know, is there someone who knows how to win this endgame? Everyone is familiar with this one? Okay. I don't think everybody is, so I can explain it briefly. So in this exact setup, it doesn't matter where the black rook is on the e-file. Okay, I can show first. This was, there's a famous game between Piquet, Dutch Grandmaster, and Kasparov. Kasparov defending with black, lost this endgame. Played rook e1 in this position, and now winning move is f5. Takes e6. This is the way that Kasparov lost with black. And if rook e2.
F5 is closing the first rank?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Very, very smart move, because here, this somehow, this can draw the game. This just draws the game. And you get a 3v2, which is just to draw. So I can explain this one quickly. e6, only move, right? Take pawn ending. And now is the moment where you play h3. If white is here, white is to move here, this is dead draw, completely draw. But now h3 is winning, in fact. Black moves the king. If there, just king f6, king f7, king h6. Only move once again for black, king f6, right? g4. h takes g, h takes g is losing very easily, because here g5. e5 you can take, and take. h4, g5 check. Only move to go forward, otherwise I make zugzwang. Now I play some move, king g7, king takes f4, king takes g6, here. Okay, there are maybe more winning moves, but this is the easiest one. g7, e2. Now you promote queens at the same time. This is still all at the end of this line, and queen g5 check, decisive move. If king goes here, check. King goes down, check, and I can exchange queens everywhere the black king goes. Here, here, and here I just take the pawn. So this is this famous ending, basically, with rook e7 and how white is winning. This pawn ending. This was my game 2 days ago, in fact. It was the same 4v3 pawn ending. Yeah, 4 against 3 pawn ending. Then later it became 3 against 2. Then later it became 2 against 1. And somehow I managed to give this pawn away too, to get some type of strange tricks. I brought the king all the way from the queen side to g7. And I play rook e2 check. Okay, black has 2 options. You can go to d6, or you can go to f5, right? One of them is completely draw, one of them is completely losing, of course. And okay, it was a 6-hour game, 6 hour plus. We were the last game playing. My opponent was very tired. She defended like completely perfect for like 100 moves. But okay, now she blundered the game instantly. Like, don't just find the drawing move, but the drawing sequence, the whole idea.
King d6, obviously the king is on the wrong side.
Sorry?
With king d6 and the king is on the wrong side.
With king d6?
You lose the pawn. So I think king f5 must be.
King f5, rook e7?
Maybe rook a8.
Rook a8 I can take. And then. I think this is also losing, by the way, this position exactly. But this one is a draw still, if you have the idea.
Rook a1.
Rook a1 takes.
Rook e1 check.
This is also a draw, to be honest, but the easiest idea and the most famous idea, because sometimes you don't have this, sometimes you don't have this luck. Let's say my rook was on d7, your rook was here, then this would be resign. Let's say. So sometimes you don't have this, these tricks. So the main idea to draw this position is rook a6. Okay, if I go back to make some tricks, you just go back, of course, right? Rook takes f7 and now king g5, in fact. Keeping some type of opposition for a perpetual check later. If I go away, you just take the pawn, of course. Rook f8, you make pass move. And now, okay, bam, bam. Okay, well, it was somehow, it was very late, so she played quickly, king d6 actually.
So this last preparation is only because this is f5, f pawns, and not, let's say, some d pawns or something?
Yeah, exactly.
Because black king is...
Yeah, like this is,
king
yeah, this is a famous position because it's the f pawn, king g5.
if it was e pawn,
It would not work the same if it was with the e pawns.
same perpetual?
Well, it would be a draw still, but not perpetual, because you just force the king to go away somehow. Let's say, in this position, well, I can explain in this way.
Okay, king to... Okay,
Yeah, okay, it's not the same situation, but it would also be a draw, let's say.
It is more fire at the right, so you go there.
Yeah, exactly. It would be a draw too for sure. But with the f pawn, there's this idea basically. I mean, I calculated it during the game, to be honest. I said, oh no, king f5 is draw. Like I realized it, I was annoyed a bit, but somehow, okay, after the game, well, Safarli, boyfriend of my opponent, strong grandmaster, told me that he knew the position. He didn't have to calculate anything. For him, it was common knowledge, all of this, which really surprised me, to be honest, because for me, this was not common knowledge at all. Rook a6, and just draw immediately. She played king d6 during the game. Very, I don't know. I assume that she saw this idea that I can just play king f8 now and rook e7 and the game is completely over. Yeah, so in fact that was it of this game. Okay, maybe I have some time to explain some last endgame. No, not this one, sorry. This one. Is everybody familiar with all the sequence here? I think it's a must-know endgame, of course, yeah. I got this, okay, like I'm 17 years old, I'm a pretty young guy, yeah, and I got this like 10 times in classical or so, really. And somehow I always manage to get some win here, because I get these positions, and yeah. So this is the main position where white wins in rook bishop against rook. So in this position, there's something that everybody should know. E2 is the best square to have the rook for black. E1 is the second best square, and E3 is the worst square for black. So I should try to get the rook on E3 somehow. So first of all, you try to get it on the second worst square. You force the rook to E1. Next, rook B7. No check yet, rook B7. If king C8, losing instantly, rook A7. You have to block it with a rook. You go completely to the other side. What's the only way to escape here? King B8, right? And then bam, 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 and you win the rook. Yeah, so this king C8 is like, I say it's like putting bad resistance, let's say, yeah? Even though it's losing anyway, you have to try rook C1 at least. And now follows bishop B3. Taking away square C2 for the rook. Trying to provoke it to go to C3. So king E8 is made, only other legal move would be king C8, right? Now the way to win, rook B4. Introducing the immediate threat of bishop E6 winning the game. King D8 back, only move. Rook F4. Rook G4 would also work, by the way, but for some reason I like this square, so rook F4. If rook E1, bishop A4, taking away the E8 square, only move right. Rook B4 and resign because bishop D7 is undefensible. So king D8, rook F4, rook E1, this wins. Now rook C3. Now we got the rook on the best square possible for white, right? So you can play bishop E6, forcing like almost immediately to give a check, yeah, like otherwise rook B8 is mate. This is fast resignation, of course, because the B3 square is taken away. And rook C3, now we get like the best scenario for white. You give this check. I can explain why you give this check maybe. Because ideally, white would like to have this position. Okay, let's make some random move. Sorry, this. And now bishop c4. This is like the key position to remember. This is mate in 3. Mate in 3, like immediately. So this is what white would like to get. And by means, you give a check. Force the king to either side. Okay, king e8, rook g7 is, okay, fast win, right? It's mate. You go king c8. You go to g7. Force the king to b8. Well, now you can't win the rook, but what you can do is give a check. Break the rook to b4 specifically. And now you see why, well, now you see why c3 is the worst square for the rook. If rook d3, rook a4, b3 is guarded. King d8. And now this white's the bad square because there's no checks here and white wins instantly. So, okay, maybe I went too fast here if someone wants to look back at some position, but so basically from the beginning you lose one move to get the rook to e1. You go to b7 all the way to the other side. Don't go to a7, yeah, go to b7 always. It also works the same if the king is on e6 and black king on e8, white bishop on e5, if it's a parallel position, yeah. It counts for the same. So you go rook b7. King c8 is always bad resistance because you go rook a7 and you win this rook on b1. Remember, by this trick. Winning the rook on b1. So rook c1, bishop b3. Taking away the check and trying to force the rook to c3. King c8, you have this trick with rook b4, rook f4. Rook e1, bishop a4. Taking all the squares away from the rook. King c8, rook b4, or even bishop c6, but I like rook b4 more. It's faster and you force resignation. If you get this, you finally achieved your goal. You can go just force him to give you a check anyway and then just block and force it back the rook. And then you give this check, this very important check. When the rook is on c3, you give this check. Like, let's say you have this position. Now this would be, okay, or you can even go to a7. Like if I'm saying if somebody defends it badly, yeah? From this position, if you make pass move, if they go instantly to e3, you can win very quickly by, let's say, forcing the rook to c3. Sorry, forcing the rook to c3, and here this check is winning. Because king e8, rook g7, this is the bad side. Here anyway, rook g7, king b8, check. And now you achieve this key position, rook b4, bam, resign. Did everybody get it?
For what bishop c4?
For what bishop c4? What's white's threat here? Just mate? Where does black, how do you block it? You cannot block it, right? So you need to move the king. Here it's mate anyway. Here, bam, mate anyway. So yeah, this is just the key position to remember. If kings have opposition, and this exact formation with rook b4, bishop c4, yeah, white wins instantly, mate in 3. Okay, maybe I can do one last endgame. Yeah, we have time, yeah?
We can actually finish now, but you can, if you have...
Yeah, it's fine. I just want to show one more endgame. The next one, yeah, it's at 1, right? So, okay, one more. Because this one was also very interesting in my opinion. I'm playing strong Grandmaster Bjerre, 2600, a young guy also. 18 years old in Dardha Steel tournament, which is very prestigious. So every game counts, of course, in this tournament, and I was really trying my best, yeah, to win this endgame. I can already say in advance, this game was, I think, almost 8 hours, because in Dardha you have this insane time control, like 1 hour 40, then you get 50 minutes extra, then 30 minutes for the rest of the game. So these games are insanely long, always. Okay, I'm just trying everything, you know. By miracle, I managed to get this endgame. And I can tell you, this guy is defending like a total machine, yeah? Until the end. Like 0-0 chance, absolutely. Because I explained you how to win this when you get the key position, and now I should explain how to draw it, I feel like. So there are two main ways to draw this. One is this one. It's called the Cochrane defense, I think. It was the oldest one to the oldest way to defend it. This position. Okay, maybe this is the exact position. This is the exact position. Rook b1, king a5. And it works this way, just white cannot progress. You would love to get your king here, but, well, no, because your piece is hanging. And if you move here to somehow play bishop somewhere and get your coordination together, black goes to the other side, always runs away. If you go here, just king a6. And if white tries to play bishop d6 to put it on c5 and go with the king to c6 to get the, the position that I just showed and how white wins, black uses the second way to make a draw. It's called the second rank defense. Rook b5, let's say, this formation. Now king b5. This is the second formation to draw. Yeah, so it works basically this way. White cannot progress again. Check king a6 always. And next move, you almost pre-move king back to b5, literally. Yeah, even if you somehow block it, you can just, There are some ways that white could potentially try, like bishop c7. And now it's a very important thing to remember, that you can play king a6, here, and now this. And yeah, stalemate. But yeah, so this is the second rank defense, basically. I'm thinking of anything more I can, what should I explain? Like, how can white try to break it? Yeah, just, there are some ways to try it. It's very important to never break this formation somehow. Just keep moving the king around here. It looks very scary, maybe leaving this rook like this somehow. Oh, I get trapped or whatever, but in fact, this is an easy draw. Or not easy, but it's draw. Yeah, and black can, in fact, even if you break the coordination, somehow black can move his pieces around in a way that you get it anyway, like pretty easily. And yeah.
So black king and rook need to be closely diagonally on light spot?
Yeah, second rank defense is called. So I got it in the game, I can show. He defended perfectly, yeah? So this was the game. I played bishop b4 for some reason. King b6, I'm not going to win a rook, so this. Second rank, it's, okay, the 7th rank, but second rank it's the same. And now he goes to the other position, basically. See how you can go for one position, you can transition into the other one. Yeah, I cannot make progress. Black just waits. You can even wait with the king, actually, yeah? You can wait also with the rook. Just move it, and white cannot progress. Rook g6. How does black play here? Exactly, and then stalemate. Bam. In the game, you can just, if you do it correctly, then you cannot lose this with black. Let's say if I play king d5, what does black play here? Rook b1 is one move, but go to the other defense. Rook d1, bishop d4. Where? King d8. I think you can wait even, one move. The whole point is that when he gives a check, then you can go back. Okay, king d8 is also completely draw, but, this is the main position. Here, where do you go? Of course, there, yeah? Of course, you should do it correctly and not blunder, like, not blunder some tricks. Like, you can somehow still blunder these endgames. Okay, this is really the last game that I show. Okay, look at this, look at this. 5 pawns, yeah? This was also in the tournament when I made my first IM norm. Also a very long game, but of course I'm very emotionally invested into those type of positions. I really want to win it with black. Okay, look, my opponent, how he blundered. He's somehow trying to defend it, yeah? And he plays rook g4 check. He's thinking he can force my king away. And he just forgets that I can sacrifice the bishop, and I can just give checkmate, let's say, yeah? Of course, this is still a draw. Okay, to be honest, it's kind of tricky, because if you do this, it's easy to mess up, because you don't have the stalemate, pawn on h3. So you should always keep in mind. This is why when I was on the defensive side, I gave this pawn away immediately, and then just defended like normal. But yeah, these are some tricks that you can really not forget, because you can really just lose in 2 moves like this, and that can be dangerous. So I know if you have any questions, you can ask them, of course. Yeah, want me to go back somewhere, but I think I'm finished for now.